Tervetuloa nuorisotutkimuspäiville. Dear colleagues, welcome to the Youth Research Days 2016. Välkommen is Swedish, and it reflects the delightful fact that we are organizing this together. I'm Elina OInas from the Swedish School of Social Sciences at the University of Helsinki, and the main organizer of this event is the Youth Research Network, but this is a collaboration. I'm in fact the more ceremonial hostess, and I'd already like to thank the real organizers, Kaisa Vehkalahti and Karla Malm from the Youth Research Network, who's done so much work in this. The theme is Global Responsibility in Youth Research. And this is a very timely theme, we think. There has never been this many young individuals living on this planet as right now. They have never been so connected as they are today. There are ties that take shape not only through the media, the internet, or popular culture, but the economic connections through production and exploitation of resources across the globe. The morning coffee, the clothes we wear, the fuel that brought you here connect us to the struggles of young people in Colombia, Bangladesh, and Nigeria. And yet we know surprisingly little of these ties. The realities of young people in the global south are scarcely researched in the global north. Also, the number of deaths of young, aspiring people trying to migrate to Europe should remind us that borders and disconnections are still, and increasingly so, very much a reality for some of us, while not for others. The simultaneous connectedness and dividedness and increasing inequalities is a contemporary paradox that can and should be the starting point to understand local realities for Finnish youth researchers. The majority of the young population live in the global south, and the global population growth will keep on being heavily concentrated on Africa. During these youth research days, we will ask ourselves in what ways the realities of globalizing youth can and should challenge our ways of doing research here. We know that for today's young people, both in Pello and Puotila and Porto Alegre, the global perspective is given already. For us scholars, it requires an extra effort, a move away from the comfortable taking for grantedness of methodological nationalism. The nation state, or Europe as an entity, even the West as a meaningful unit of identification, must be examined rather than assumed in order for us to continue being committed to high-quality research. We cannot overlook the numbers of young people in Africa and the Middle East. Population research, however, shows that the figures are not alarming. It's not the bulge waiting to erupt or explode. Young people will need healthcare, education, and decent jobs, of course. And without such, we are facing an unpredictable future. Young people's potential and creativity, for example, in the vibrant growing metropoles of the South, should not be disregarded either. It can be studied and learned from. A lot of the tools existing in the tradition of Finnish youth research are still surprisingly useful. Finnish youth research is internationally appreciated for its ability to combine several analytical levels in one study. We tend to look at first the young people's own perspectives, autonomous creativity and agency, second the professional institutional services that potentially generate mutual trust and respect. We are critical, but we surprisingly often also work with a critical appreciative framework regarding the professionals. And the third level is the public sector and the state as crucial implementing, hampering, and enabling policy and legal environments to grow up in. To stay up to date as researchers, our best practices should be documented and analyzed, their global equivalents discussed, and our blind spots and weaknesses detected. Structural racism is a good example of a societal phenomenon that has been stubbornly difficult to bring to the public attention in Finland. Finnish youth research is both in the forefront and in the tail end in this endeavour. The Youth Research Days could be an event where we can learn from each other. For example, in this respect, when the world is rapidly changing, collegial meetings where we enrich and challenge each other's thinking in constructive and respectful ways are more needed than ever. So let's enjoy this opportunity and let's have fun together, but also learn. At the eve of the 100 years of independence celebrations, we look beyond the borders of the nation state. Looking at the last decade, it is clear that the global connectedness of Finnish local lives is far from a novelty we need to wake up to. The historical moments that changed and sometimes ended the lives of Finnish youth in the remotest villages have had to do with figures like Lenin or Hitler. Some of them took to their creativity and courage and migrated to the Americas and Sweden. Some founded utopian societies in Canada, Soviet Union. Their ideas, experiences, thoughts, letters, and remittances traveled. Even the ones who stayed behind were influenced, like are the winners and losers of globalization today, the unemployed street patrols, as well as the academics. But there is no credible youth policy that any of the international or governmental big policymakers are currently designing, let alone implementing. Such a policy could use the knowledge of researchers to bind together the focus on youthful agency and the responsibility of public actors. Finland as a state and Finnish researchers could work together to be a groundbreaking policy forefront and a driver of a global youth policy dialogue. It is a valuable cause where researchers have a lot to offer, and we should take up this challenge.